The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS High Definition Surveillance Systems. The Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli for 2015 is almost at a close after 16 exciting and hard-fought races at Zandvoort, Zolder, Spa, Assen and Brands Hatch. The decisive encounters of the season will be held at the TT circuit in Assen. In this show we'll take a look at SuperGT and GTB, and we'll start with the faster of the two divisions. Last year, Team RaceArt became the first and only European team to run the SRT Viper GT3R, battling in Super GT. Despite a difficult start to the season, they won the title by 7 points. This year, Roger Grals defends his title with the same team and car, Kelvin Snooks joining him in the Viper. That title, though, looked to be far out of reach when they hit by a guest driver at Zolder and end up scoring no points. And when Grals was hit at Brands Hatch, the championship really seemed lost. Yet, last time out, they took the championship lead from Belgians Nicolas van Dierendonck and Jeffrey van Hooijdonk, who drive Sallerslag Racing Team's Chevrolet Corvette GT2. They've led the title race from the very first race weekend, although they also made a trip into the gravel during round 4 at Zandvoort. But it was when mechanical problems intervened at Spa that they lost the lead in the title race. Unfortunately, we had a broken gearbox in the previous rounds at Spa, said Jeffrey van Hooijdonk. Don't have anything to lose, we're 11 points behind. We took 2 points back by claiming pole for both races. Feels good to end the season being the fastest in qualifying, but we still have 2 races ahead of us. There's lots of points available to try and retake the championship lead. So, what about their chances this weekend then?
Not
really likely, says Nicholas. Grid's not very big, makes it harder to gain on them in the standings, but we'll have to see how it goes. We don't want them to have any problems. If they beat us, they're rightfully the champions, and we'll just have to be satisfied with second place. So Team RaceArt has an advantage on the scoreboard here at Assen for the first time this season.
Yeah, it
really feels good, especially after what happened at Spa. But now we've got a different strategy. Have to bear in mind our championship lead, not take any silly risks. They're the hunters and we're the hunted this time. I have to say I'd rather have it the other way around. Nicholas and Jeffrey have nothing to lose at this stage, and for us it's exactly the opposite, so fingers crossed. The Sallerslag Racing Team Corvette made the perfect start at Assen with pole position for both races. Nicolas van Dierendonck starts Saturday's encounter, and alongside him is a brand new McLaren 650S GT3 from Cox Racing, with Peter Cox and Nico Pronk. Peter starting the first race of the weekend in his own car. The Team RaceArt Viper will start both races from third place, Roger Grals beginning in race 1. Not the greatest qualifying, but after 6 poles and 5 wins this season, teammate Kelvin Snooks isn't unduly worried. In the final lap of my qualifying session, I got really close to pole. I think a better result was definitely possible, but the team called me back in. I was only 8 tenths away from pole. Sure, I could have gone faster, but not to be. If you look at the qualifying results, you might think we're slow this weekend, but I think we'll put up a good fight. First race of the Formido final races weekend was held on a partly wet track. The ideal line dry, but offline wet, and that would make overtaking nearly impossible as everyone is on slicks. Away we go, and a big jump start for Peter Cox in the McLaren. Good start from Roger Grals, but not taking any risks here. Staying on the dry, just following the Corvette and sitting on their championship lead. Jump start penalty for Peter Cox, a drive through. And that means the Corvette is in the lead, but suddenly there is trouble for the Viper team. Roger Grals in after 2 laps. Seems to be a major problem with the balance of the car. The team can't find anything, and Grals rejoins the race dead last. Not what you want with only an 11-point advantage and a 21-point maximum for the race. Henry Zumbrink leads, Nicolas van Dierendonck down to 4th in class. That's good news for RaceArt, but with 25 more result seconds to the Corvette drivers, Kelvin Snooks has his work cut out to get close to them in the second half of the race. An extra hard job after Roger Grals' early extra pit stop as well.
Ja, dat hoorde niet bij de tactiek. Ja. Ik had een probleem al eigenlijk in de...
Well, it definitely wasn't part of our strategy, says Roger. Had a problem before the start of the race, actually. The steering wheel was slightly off-centre, didn't pay much attention to it, but there was a clear difference between full speed and when you're on the brakes, so I was really quite concerned about what was going on, because normally that's the warning that you've got a flat tyre or a slow puncture. So I really wasn't keen going through Ramshoek here at full speed with questionable handling. Decided to come in for a pit stop, get the team to check the car out, and after that we're able to continue with the race at normal speed. Jeffrey van Hooijdonk brings the Corvette home a 10th behind Noel Kohler and Carlo Coa's Blue Phantom in 3rd, but the race is won by Volvo driver Henry Tumbrink. My 6th win of the season, he says. New record in Super GT. Car was really quick in the opening stages. I was able to build up a good lead. Towards the end, pace wasn't quite so good, but we had a big enough lead, able to win the race and set the new record. With Jeffrey van Hooijdonk and Nicolas van Durendonk in 3rd and Team Race Art in 4th, the Corvette drivers close the gap in the standings by just a single point, as Kelvin Snooks also sets the fastest lap. So it'll all come down to the final race on Sunday. Before we get to that, let's take a look at the battle in GTB. Patrick Lamster and Donald Molenaar lead the championship in the EMG Motorsport Porsche GT3 Cup. They've claimed 2 wins so far this season. Nothing particularly special about that, you might think, and you might be right, but 11 podiums from 16 races, that is special. Their 14-point lead is extended to 16 when Donald grabs pole for both of the Formido final races. With 42 points up for grabs this weekend, anything is possible. It's a mechanical sport. Anything can happen, says Patrick. We're definitely not there yet. If we've got a 21-point lead after the first race, we'll be champions. But I think it'll come down to the final race of the season.
Ja, je wil altijd kampioen worden. En Patrick toen ik voor het eerst bij hem.
Being champion's always the main goal, says Donald. When I joined Patrick and the team midway through the season, it was the first time we took the lead in the standings. Then Patrick gave a little speech about how I could keep racing with him as long as I made sure we stayed on top of the points. But I want to win anyway. You know, I'm a driver who is always going to keep the championship in mind. That's more important than 1 or 2 more wins. Coming on board and taking the lead in the championship's been great, and we're really keen to win the title. Their main rivals are Ferdinand Kool and Milan Doncha in the Davidtech Engineering Corvette. Milan made his motorsport debut this season, but he also said earlier in the year that winning the championship is not his main goal. So what about now? When the season's almost over and you're so close to the title, it definitely becomes your main target, whether you want it to or not, he says. I started the season with no expectations. Now it's an extra motivation to do well. But I'll also be really happy if we finish in 2nd. It shows we've made great progress. It's been a really good season overall. With 7 wins, they're the most successful car in the GTB class, if not the fastest in qualifying. Well, all we need now is some good luck, says Ferdinand. The track's half wet, half dry, and that should suit us. I'm going to give it everything anyway. I'll try and force them into making a mistake so we can win the race. We've got the most results second, so it's going to be tough, but anything can happen. Donald Molenaar leads the race, followed by Ferdinand Kool pushing hard in the Corvette. When he comes in for his pit stop, you can see that one of the headlamps has been popped out from hitting a tyre stack inside a corner. But that hasn't affected the car. They do, however, have one major mechanical problem.
Ja, er is een probleem. Hij schakelt niet terug.
Got a big problem with the paddle shift. It's not downshifting from the start of the race. Had to downshift using the gear lever. Had to reset the car a couple of times. Still managed to do mid-43s. Wonder what we could have done if the car had been good, though. Would have been very competitive. But for Milan, it's about reaching the finish. It's a shame. More bad luck. The GTB race winner turns out to be Vard Slice, despite a stop-and-go penalty for a mistimed pit stop. It's his 5th win of the season, and he comes home 6 seconds ahead of the competition.
Iedereen is wat voorzichtiger vandaag, merk ik. De Corvette, de Porsche, iedereen rijdt echt voor het kampioenschap.
I noticed everyone was being very cautious. The Corvette and the Porsche drivers, not really on the edge this time, because they're being careful of their championship positions. But I really wanted to win a race this weekend, so it's mission accomplished. After the crash at Spa, I really wanted to get a good result. You know, when you end up being shunted into the wall because of somebody else's mistake. But I'm back in the game now and had a great first race. Milan Dončić and Ferdinand Kuhl finished third behind GTB guest driver Max Kobold, but in front of Patrick Lamster and Ferdinand Kuhl, who remain 14 points ahead in the championship. Stay with us for the last race of the season, where both Super GT and GTB titles will be decided. The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS High Definition Surveillance Systems. Welcome back to the Formido final races from the TT circuit in Assen, a free event for the whole family, with performances by famous Dutch artists, lots of paddock activities, and the highlight, the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli Grid Walk. It offers the fans one last chance to get up close to the cars in Super GT and GTB, because it's the last race of the season. The titles in both classes have yet to be decided. In Super GT, Roger Grals and Kelvin Snooks lead the standings with the SRT Viper GT3R, and in GTB, Porsche drivers Patrick Lamster and Donald Molinar top the leaderboard. But it won't be easy, because they face the trickiest conditions all season, a cold and wet track which will offer little grip if the cars aren't properly set up, and that was very much the case during Friday's wet qualifying, when the less powerful GTB cars were right at the front. Final race of the season, the title decider at a wet Assen, and the Corvette leading the field to the line. McLaren alongside. Third place the Viper. In fourth place is the GTB leading Porsche. Away we go for the final race. Orange nose of the Rainbow Marcos of Koroyzer, the Corvette with the lead, and the Viper on the inside, but everybody being extra cautious. Roger Grals in third place, but Donald Molinar using the Porsche's traction to go by out of Harbocht. The Porsches get heat into the tyres quicker because of the engine hanging out the back. Now Roger Grals trying to defend against Koroyzer. Into the hairpin at Strubben, you can see the Viper on the inside. And Koroyzer in the Marcus Mantis. A little bit of a twitch of oversteer there from the Volvo right behind. Visibility not great, traction even worse in these wet conditions. Let's take a look back at the start, riding with Max Kobold, Milan Dončić in the Corvette right in front, the blue Volvo. That's Henry Zumbrink on the right-hand side. Away we go. Vard Slice's BMW on the left just there. Oh, there's the Vicora V8 on the inside. It's very close. Was there a little touch from the yellow Vicora? Not quite sure. Well, Max Kobold was in second, but look, Vard Slice around the outside into the first corner. Now Kobold looking up the inside into turn two. Oh, and this has got possibilities for him. Is there any grip here to be found, though? As they head up to the hairpin, the BMW drifting out on the outside line. And the Corvette looking to go around the outside. Looks like he's going to grab second in GTB here at Strubben. Oh, no grip at all, though. With Milan Dončić, and on the fence line, looking to go by Vard Slice this time. Just about enough room to get by the BMW, using the Corvette's V8 power. Through he goes, up to third in GTB. Jeffrey van Hooydonk leading the race, pulling out a big advantage early on in the Corvette ZR1. Donald Molinar in second place, GTB class leader. Nico Pronk behind him in the McLaren, and then Roger Grals in the SRT Viper. But is Van Hooydonk pushing the wet weather tyres too early? Oh, Milan Dončić jumps the curb, battling with Carlo Kaya in the blue Phantom. Third place battle, the McLaren, Nico Pronk at the wheel, right behind Roger Grals in the Viper. Then Koroyzer in that Dayglow rainbow-coloured Marcos, and look at the Volvo. Henry Zumbrink, our race one winner, on the inside of both of them. No traction control for the Volvo, it's all right foot. But with the Corvette motor in that silhouette, he rockets away from the more modern traction-controlled Viper. And he's closing in on the McLaren in front. Henry Zumbrink all over the back of Nico Pronk under braking. Well, are all the traction control electronics slowing the McLaren down? Maybe over-slowing it. Maybe Nico Pronk just wants to make sure they get the race miles in this brand new car. Here comes the Volvo, looking inside-outside. Brink taking second place out of Steckenval. And the McLaren offline, and that's trouble. Here comes Roger Grals in the Viper. Dives to the inside, and he takes third. So Nico Pronk down to fourth place. Slippery stuff in these tricky conditions. Jeffrey Van Hooydonk brings the Corvette in for the mandatory pit stop with a lead of around 40 seconds, and with 15 seconds less result seconds than the Viper drivers, there is the chance perhaps to win the race, and that's all they can do, try and win the race to win the title.
Nee, het was heel leuk. Ging heel goed. Wagen was top. We hadden juist iets te veel risico genomen met...
Great fun, said Jeffrey. Everything went according to plan. I think we took a bit too much of a risk with the tyre pressure though. Started with a slightly higher pressure. I had very little grip as the tyres warmed up towards the end of the stint. We've dropped the pressure for Nicholas, but I'm not sure he's going to have much grip. Don't think we can win. Peter Cox is closing in fast, but I think maybe a podium's possible, and that would be a great way to end the season. In the GTB class, winning the race is the mission for Milan Doncia and Ferdinand Kuhl. The Corvette, very little grip in the opening stages of the race, but midway through his stint, the tyres are at the perfect temperature and pressure, and Doncia is definitely on the attack, passing Max Cobalt down the straight for second place. As the pressures rise and the grip comes to him, Doncia closes the gap on GTB race leader Donald Molinar as well. And this is where strategy comes into play for the Porsche drivers. Molinar knows he's got 30 fewer result seconds to take than the Corvette drivers, so there's no need to defend at this stage of the race. In the slippery conditions, a wrong move by either man could end one of their championship hopes or both. So he lets the Corvette go by. No dramas for the EMG Motorsport driver, and thumbs up for making a clean pass. Molinar brings the Porsche in to hand over to Patrick Lamster. The team making vital tyre pressure adjustments for the final half hour of racing of the season. But with the pressure of leading in tricky conditions, Donald Molinar had a tough job.
kon in ieder geval lekker wegrijden. En dat ging allemaal supergoed. Alleen op een gegeven moment...
Built up a good lead, that was great. But after a few laps when it started to dry out, it was clear our tyre pressure was too high. Really noticed that when Milan Doncia got closer. No way I could hold him off. He was driving really good lines. Once I was behind him, I just couldn't keep up. My tyre pressure was 2.7, needs to be more like 2 bar, so I had a great start, but the benefit of the high tyre pressure was gone after a few laps. Let's hope they have a few problems near the end. Well, the Porsche drops down to 5th after the pit stops. Vard Slice leading in the BMW M4 Silhouette. The race 1 winner, though, being run down by the Corvettes, Ferdinand Kuhl and Max Cobalt right in his wheel tracks. And with just a few minutes to go, Slice is passed by both Kuhl and Max Cobalt in just 3 corners. BMW running out of grip and the Corvette looking very assured. Ferdinand Kuhl down the inside at the first turn. Well, he finds the grip he needs to pull away. And for Vard Slice, the writing is on the wall. Max Cobalt all over the back of him as well. Through the inside at turn 3 and around the outside he will go. Takes the lead going onto the brakes for Strubben. Well, that leaves Vard Slice down in 3rd place. Art Bosman's Porsche in 4th. Patrick Lamster and Donald Molinar's car in 5th position. Cobalt closes on former coach Ferdinand Kuhl, tries everything to get by. Kuhl helped him win the GTB title last year, but this time Kuhl is trying to win the race so he can claim the title, and he's not keen on letting Cobalt through. Checkered flag awaits. Ferdinand Kuhl and Milan Doncia have done all they can to win the race, but the frustration is clear from Max Cobalt. Ferdinand Kuhl and Milan Doncia do everything they can. They claim victory. It's a Corvette 1-2, but 5th place is enough. Patrick Lamster and Donald Molinar win the GTB Championship. In 2013, Lamster won it with Mark Nyans and EMG Motorsport. This year with Donald Molinar. The team are delighted. Patrick Lamster, well, on the slowing down lap, finds out just how slippery the curbs still are, but he doesn't care. He's still the champion. All we needed to do was finish the race, but I was so nervous. It was really hard to keep the car on the black stuff. The track was so difficult. I was just waiting for the checker. It's been a great season. We've had highs and lows, but we've pulled it off. And the guys at EMG Motorsport, so much thanks to them. Every time they gave us a perfect car. I think it might be the oldest car of them all, 2006. We called it the old sausage, but what an amazing car. Super team, supercar. We're going to celebrate. Ferdinand Kuhl and Milan Doncha win the race, the best that they could do. They're the first to win a race with more than 60 result seconds. Max Gobert set the fastest lap and finished second. Vard completing the top 3, ends up in 3rd place in the championship. But with just an 8-point margin, it was a close one for the title rivals. Patrick Lamster and Donald Molinar coming out on top. In Super GT, what Jeffrey van Hooijdonk predicted comes to pass. Peter Cox in the McLaren closing down Nicolas van Dierendonck and taking the lead towards the end of the race. The Dutch veteran with so much experience despite having a brand new car. Van Dierendonck though manages to hold on to 2nd spot in the final encounter of the season. Koolhuizer finishing 3rd in the Marcos. Kelvin Snooks in the Dodge Viper comes across the line in 5th position. All he had to do was make sure he reached the 75% distance mark and then he could push really hard, setting the fastest lap time. Just misses on the podium by 2 seconds, but it's enough to win the Super GT title. So Roger Graals and Team Raceart win the Super GT Championship for the 2nd consecutive year. And this time, Kelvin Snooks joins them. Second time we won the title, says Roger. Just amazing. So happy with the result. Really exciting. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get on the podium for the final race, but our mission was to keep the car in one piece. Kelvin did a fantastic job. We both had such a good time this season. Really pleased. Excellent. Wanted to finish on the podium, but the team said to slow down, make sure we finish the race, says Kelvin. I'm still happy. We're champions. That's what matters. Doesn't matter if you finish 4th or 5th. Who cares? It's all about the championship, and we've pulled it off. So, as in GTB, the Super GT champions just miss out on the podium. In 5th place, Henry Zumbrink 4th, Koolhuizer in 3rd, but Nico Pronk and Peter Cox claiming victory ahead of the Corvette drivers. Van Dierendonck and Van Hooijdonk doing all they could to keep the title race alive. Just like last year, though, Team Raceart win the championship by 7 points. The number 7 might be their lucky number from now on. Kelvin Snooks missed out last year with the Volvo, but this year is champion with Roger Graals. And as they get ready to start the party to end the season, that's it for Super GT and GTB divisions in the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli. Join us next time for the Super Sport and Sport classes where one championship remains undecided, and we'll have the final round of the IDIS Super Lights Challenge. Bye for now. The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Autosportinsurance.com, and IDIS High Definition Surveillance Systems.